on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So jump over there if you want to see the full forecast. But if you want to see those behind-the-scenes moments, you can stay on TikTok for that. We do behind-the-scenes forecast almost every day on TikTok. All right, let me know where you're watching from today. Are you watching from places that are going to get hit with Hey, thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. Thanks for joining the Hail Trace noon forecast. I hope you enjoyed the break from storms yesterday because storms do return tomorrow. We have those showers and storms returning from Arkansas to Alabama on your Thursday. With this, we're expecting hail and tornadoes and even a wind threat here. So you know the lions and tigers and bears, oh my. I put hail and wind and tornadoes, oh my, from Arkansas to Alabama. But what about the weekend? I will be tracking that for you and showing you that chance for storms this weekend. Looking pretty low right now, but we do have a low pressure system that we are monitoring very carefully because I think that we could see storms start to fire up again a little bit more consistently, starting either Sunday or Monday. It just depends on how fast this thing moves through and can get itself organized, pull in a lot that moisture. It needs more moisture to fire off storms right now, but we'll talk about it. Yesterday, we saw some high wind events out along the East Coast. Other than that, we were pretty quiet yesterday. No other storm reports to report across the entire U.S. Some of those storms that I mentioned up in the northern plains, they did stay non-severe. I said that most of them, excuse me, a little hiccup. I said that most of them would, and they stayed non-severe, so we didn't have anything severe yesterday. Temperatures are above average right now. We are finally warming back up to that spring, almost summertime feel. And you know the drill here. Whenever we see those warmer temperatures, if we can get some moisture in here, we'll see storms start to follow as well. So temperatures stay above average for the most part from the plains to the west. However, a little bit cooler the farther east that you head, anywhere from Chicago to St. Louis, down to Atlanta, and all the way up the East Coast. Temperatures will be below average as we end the work week. Now, taking a look at the showers and storms right now, this low pressure system that you see off to the northern Mississippi, northern Iowa, Mississippi Valley here, and then into the Midwest. This low pressure system will be the next round of storms that we see for tomorrow, not today, tomorrow. So we've got some showers and storms ongoing through the Midwest right now, even trying every now and then to mix in a little bit of snow with this. Temperatures are just so cold. You may have snow in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but by the time it falls to the surface, then you get that rain. So rain/snow mixing in the northern side of this system, and then more rain down to the south. Dry out to the East Coast, mostly dry out in the south, maybe a few showers in Florida, and then mostly dry out to the west as well. Temperatures are warmer now than they were this time yesterday. 71 in Oklahoma City, 66 in Denver, a little bit cooler, as I mentioned, off to the east along the Midwest and East Coast. All right, we're seeing that moisture return. Check this out. The more green we get, the higher our moisture content is. So we're looking at dew points right here, measuring the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. The higher those dew points, the more likely we are for strong to severe storms. We've got more moisture surging in from the Gulf into the Midwest here, and even into places like Tennessee, Kentucky, and Arkansas. So where's the heat? Where's the moisture? That's where you're going to find the storms. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. I want to get through today first. Now today, very similar to yesterday, strong storms are possible. You could see that rumble of thunder, that strike of lightning. However, most of these will stay sub-severe, non-severe. Not expecting those severe hazards to sneak into the forecast today. So if we do see any of those strong winds, it'll be less than 60 miles an hour. Small hail, it's possible, but it's pretty unlikely. And again, smaller than the size of a quarter. This again, from all those storms coming into anywhere from the northern high plains all the way down to the Midwest and into Kentucky and Tennessee. Now tomorrow, that is whenever we actually start to see that severe risk return to the forecast. that for a good portion of Tennessee, including Nashville, southern side of Illinois, Missouri, western side of Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. This is an area that we saw get hit over and over last week. This is an area that had multiple days of storms last week. Once again, the next target for storms this week. So what we're expecting here is we are watching for severe weather with that hail and that tornado risk anywhere from Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Missouri all included in that risk. So enough talking about it. Let's show you the graphics here. We are expecting one initial line of storms. Not terribly concerned about this in the morning hours. This is what's left over from what we're seeing right now up in Chicago. What we're really watching for, I don't even have to tell you, you can see it. These storms will explode in the afternoon hours, tracking to the east with a strong southerly wind. Think about that motion, one going this way, the other going this way. You've got that turn going. These storms could organize and produce that large hail, anywhere from the size of a golf ball to the size of a lime, as we head into the evening hours. Now let's break down that risk for tomorrow. Again, I told you that we're going to see some of those larger hailstones with this. I have up to hen egg, 2-inch size hail here. This, about the size of a lime, larger than a golf ball. Your significant hail model here looks pretty impressive, from Tennessee all the way to Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, all included with this significant hail model. We're kind of getting into those oranges there, which is what we want to see for some of those larger hailstones. Now taking a look at the wind risk here, from Memphis to Nashville is the best chance to get some of those stronger wind gusts. However, I would even extend to that. If I were to add more cities on here, I would extend that out to the east as well. You're probably going to get a pretty decent wind event anywhere from the eastern side of Tennessee all the way out to some of our East Coast states here, including places like Georgia and the Carolinas on the western side of the state. Now that tornado risk, we'll go hail risk first, then we'll go tornado risk. So where do we expect to see the largest hailstones? That's anywhere from Memphis to Nashville, Little Rock included in this as well. I even included like Birmingham, Alabama in this risk as well. So again, these storms are moving like this to the east. So that's why this shape is a little funky here. But we're expecting to see anywhere from that golf ball size hail. We've got that at a level 2 risk from Memphis to Nashville. I could see, as we look at models tomorrow, I could see that risk going up because it's a pretty good risk for hail tomorrow. We're just going to wait until we see models over the next 12 to 24 hours because that'll give us a lot more information about this system. Achoo! Excuse me. I could feel that one coming. I was like, am I going to sneeze? Am I not going to sneeze? Alrighty, let's take a look at your risk for tornadoes. On a serious note here, the tornado risk for tomorrow is on the board. It's a level 1 risk, highlighted there in green for Memphis, Nashville, and Birmingham. A lot of those storms are a lot more clustered in here. So let's talk timing. There's your first round of storms right here, anywhere from Nashville all the way down to Huntsville. In the morning hours, could we see something severe from this? It's possible. However, I think that main severe risk is going to be more widespread, starting back into the southern side of Missouri, southern side of Illinois, northern side of Arkansas. You're going to start to see these storms fire up in the afternoon and then intensify as they travel to the east. It is quite clustered here, okay? So it's seemingly random. You see a few storms out in front of this initial line, if you can even call it a line of storms. I want you to watch those for your tornado producers. And then we've got a line of storms, kind of, anywhere from Memphis all the way back up to the central side of Kentucky. Now, I told you earlier that Little Rock has a lower risk for that large hail than Tennessee does. And the reason for that is because storms are going to be a lot more isolated out here, and it's going to be harder for those storms to hit Little Rock, whereas Memphis, Nashville, storms are a lot more widespread. You're going to have more storms covering the state, most likely hitting at least one of those cities there. As we head into the evening hours, storms will slowly start to track to the east, being severe clear for places like Memphis and Nashville after 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, and slowly losing a lot of their power, a lot of their severity as we head into the late night hours. After sundown, I do think that that severe risk will start to go down. So it may still be raining in places like central Georgia after sundown, but that severe risk is going to be lower. Moving on to Friday now. We do have a severe risk on Friday. It's not for a ton of people. It's just for the far eastern side of North Carolina. So what we're watching for here is most likely a wind event and some isolated tornadoes. I think that hail risk is going to be pretty small in North Carolina here. Again, right on the coast, that's where we see that next round of storms for Friday. Now, what about the weekend? I find this weekend quite interesting. What are we looking at for this weekend? We need moisture to come up into the plains. We've got a pretty decent low pressure system that's starting to form in the northern plains, talking about Nebraska, South Dakota on Saturday and Sunday. I just don't think that it gets its act together enough to produce storms. However, if we were to see storms this weekend, and we don't have anything on the radar quite yet, but if we were to see storms, I would highlight the western side of Kansas into the far eastern side of Colorado, western side of Nebraska, southern South Dakota. There's an area in here that's starting to line up that if we could get enough moisture, there's a potential that we could get storms. I just don't think that we have the right ingredients all in play quite yet. However, things look a little different as we head into Monday. And Monday, the closer we get to the Gulf, I think the better chances we are to get those storms. We don't have anything severe like on our storm risks yet. I think it's still too far out. Again, today's only Wednesday, so we're about 4 or 5 days out from this. But we're giving you that outlook way ahead of time to just kind of say, keep that on your radar. Future upper jet stream. I know that sounds like a mouthful. I'll tell you what to look for here. We're looking for these big troughs. There's your storm risk on Thursday and Friday, moving out to the East Coast here. There's another one coming in. This is your Saturday, Sunday event. So Saturday, we start to see this dip in the jet stream. Again, it just doesn't get its act together until about Sunday moving into Monday, and then we really see it intensify by the time we get to Monday, especially later in the day. Now, anytime we start to see those oranges and reds creep in here, that's whenever we absolutely need to pay attention. So that's why I think that we're going to see more activity into the early portion of next week. We were questioning this weekend. I think early next week is the next time that we're going to see severe activity. But take a look at Friday. Friday, we have another one of these troughs start to dip into places like Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois. And this is another time that we'll be keeping an eye out for storms, severe storms, not just your garden variety storms, but severe weather. Let's talk temperatures now. 72 in Kansas City this afternoon. A gorgeous 70 degrees out in Denver as well. We're sitting pretty nice and comfortable across the central and western portion of the U.S. Maybe a bit hot for some down to the south and the southern four corners, but much colder the farther north and east that you go. We still have this little dip down here that's pulling in that Canadian air, making things a lot colder in places like Michigan all the way out to the northeast. Even a bit chilly down on the Gulf Coast. 60s this time of the year in the Gulf Coast. That's a bit chilly. Taking a look at Friday into Saturday, temperatures are trying to warm up, not doing a great job of it here. It does look pretty nice this weekend for the plains, however, still a bit chilly out to the east, but we will see, of course, those temperatures go up and down on our roller coaster ride that we often see in the spring. What about your wind gusts today? It's definitely breezy out there, anywhere from Dallas to Oklahoma City to St. Louis, even windier farther up to the west. We see those high winds return for tomorrow as well behind this system that's bringing storms down to the southeast. Behind it, strong wind. And what about Friday? Your wind starts to pivot out to the east here. Not too terrible. Anytime we see those pinks, that means that it's pretty windy. Those reds aren't terrible. It's just a breezy day. Alrighty, taking a look at your extended temperature outlook, we're starting to see that heat start to creep back in from the 14th to the 18th of this month, the end almost end of April. We're calling it the third week of April here. Temperatures are warming up, and that wet weather is trying to move back in. We still have dry weather lingering in the distance though, so it's kind of this battle. Will we get enough moisture for storms? I think that's the biggest question there. But of course, we'll be watching for that. We'll be watching for storms starting tomorrow, another round at the end of this weekend, if not early next week, and then another round to the middle to late portion of next week. So we've got our eyes on it for you. As always, for more weather updates, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so that you know when we're live. We also do live weather coverage. And follow us on TikTok. We post some fun and educational things on TikTok. If you're interested in a wind, hail, or tornado map, give us a call at 855-334-4245, no matter what time it is. We have meteorologists staffed to watch those storms for you and map wind, hail, and tornadoes. You can email us also at info@hailtrace.com or head over to our website for more information, hailtrace.com. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here same time, same place for your forecast tomorrow.